welcome to day 3 of the 100 Heads Challenge. I'm Sogan, and if you are new here, hi, I'm a professional illustrator and I love doing art challenge like this, and just to keep practicing and playing and having fun, with drawing. So yeah, today is another head drawing session, and honestly this challenge is no joke. When I started I thought, oh, 100 heads, I can do this in a few days, but wow, it really takes energy to stay focused and draw this many portraits. It's still fun though, especially when I pick fun theme and try new techniques. I usually begin by drawing the head using basic shapes like a circle or oval for the skull. Then I sketch the jaw and I add a center line to show which way the face is turning. I also add horizontal lines where I want the eyes and nose and mouth to go. So yeah, this is just a rough sketch and not the final version. I always start with light simple lines. Just don't press too hard with your pencil. These are just construction lines to help you place everything. And if the preparations feels good early on, the final drawing will be so much easier for you. One of the best things about doing this challenge is how much practice you get. Drawing faces over and over teaches your brain to recognize shapes, shadow, and angles more naturally. I always tell my students that you improve by doing, not just by watching. And drawing 100 head is doing a lot. A big part of drawing head is learning how light and shadow works. I never just copy shadow, I try to think about the face like a 3D shape. Once you think of the head like it's a form in a space, then you can understand where the light would fall and where the shadows should be. Let's say the light is coming from the top left. That means that the top of the nose, the cheekbones, and the forehead on the side will be brighter, right? And then the other side, the right side, will be more in the shadow. Under the nose, under the lips, and under the chin, those areas will also be darker. Try to imagine the head is a 3D object. Think where is the light coming from, which part are facing the light and which parts are turning away. Use that to decide where to shade. Today I'm working with graphite pencils, which are my favorite when I want to go from soft line shading to really strong deep shadows. Graphite gives me a nice range. I can draw super soft skin or make dark dramatic shadows easily. Sometimes I use the mechanical pencil for the details, and a softer pencil like 2B or 4B for shading. I also keep a razor nearby to lift highlights or clean up edges. A technique I love for shading is hatching, drawing thin, parallel lines close together to build tone. You can use straight lines, cross hatching, where the lines go in different directions, or curved hatching that follows the form of the face. That last one is great because it gives more volume. For example, if I'm shading the cheek or neck, I use lines that follow that shape, not just the flat horizontal lines, but the curves one instead. It helps the drawing feel more real and full. Use this technique to create texture and volume. Start light and build your tone slowly. You can change the direction of your line to show the form of the face, like wrapping lines around and round surface. Today I decided to have fun with the theme. I'm drawing witches. I just love witchy characters. There is something magical and creativity about them. And you can play with all kinds of features, pointy hats, big clocks, wild hair, glowing eyes, magical items around them. So I think it also gives me a chance to create characters, not just copy faces. I think about them like, who is this witch? Is she kind or mysterious? Does she have a story? That helps me design the face, the style of the eyes, the shape of the eyebrows, the mood of the whole portrait. When I add details, I build slowly. I do the big parts first, like the head, hair, and the hat, and then I start adding jewelry, texture in the clothes, freckles, tiny magical symbols, and just little touches that make it more personal. Alright, as you can see, I always start with basic shapes. Then I add a base tone over the face. I usually, with a light pencil shading. And after that, I use a smudge tool or with my finger sometimes to blend it out softly. That gives me a smooth skin tone and a nice base. Once the soft shading is there, I go back with a sharper pencil and add more depth. I darken the shadow around the eyes, under the nose, and the corners of the lips and the jaw for sure. Then finally, I add all the details like the hair strands, eyelashes, highlights in the eyes, and skin texture later. Smudging helps make the drawing soft, but be careful with that because don't use it too much or your drawing can get muddy. I usually smudge only once in the earliest stage and then keep the rest sharp. Alright, if you are still watching and enjoying the process, don't forget to subscribe my channel and tap the bell. I will doing all the 100 heads plus other drawing videos as well, so there is a lot more coming. Also, feel free to leave a comment for me. I love hearing from you. Let me know what you think about today's witchy theme, and if you have a favorite drawing material I should try next. Okay, back to drawing. Let's talk about contrast. Contrast means having both light and dark areas in your drawing. Without contrast, everything blends together and feels flat, so you don't need to go super dark all the time, but try to have a stronger shadow in some places and clear lights in others, like under the chin or around the eyes. Those are good places for deep shadows. And yeah, that's it. Alright, let's talk about hair. Okay, hair can feel scary to draw at first, but I promise it gets easier with practice. And here's how I do it. I don't start with lines, I begin with the big shape of the hair, like a cloud or a block. I shade that shape slightly and then I use the smudge tool to blend it smoothly. That gives me a soft base, and then I take a sharper pencil and draw strands of the hair, following the flow and the direction of the hair. So I don't draw every single hair, just enough, just enough to show texture and movement. I also add some darker shadows in some part of the hair, like those places that overlaps or folds behind. Expressions are one of my favorite things to draw. You can completely change the mood of a face with just the eyebrow and the mouth. Want a curious or surprised look? Raise the eyebrows and open the eyes. Want a serious or powerful look? Lower the brows and narrow the eyes a bit. Small changes can really tell a story. Eyes are also where most people look first, so I usually spend extra time there. I always leave a little white spot in eyes for the highlight. It makes the drawing feels alive. And yeah, use eyebrows to tell emotion. Even a tiny little curve makes a big difference, and always leave a small highlights in the eye. It just adds the spark to your portrait. So, we are finishing day 3 and it's been a good one. I feel like every day I do this challenge, I notice new things. One big thing I always think about is a structure. Even when you are always doing stylized or fun faces, the structures underneath still matters, like where the cheekbones are, how the eye fits into the socket, how the jaw connects to the ear. Even in the cartoon faces, that invisible structure helps everything look balanced and believable. So, study skull shapes. Knowing the basic bones under the skin really helps your portraits feel more solid, even if you're drawing in your own style. Alright, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching and spending time with me while I was drawing. It means a lot. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment and share it with a friend. And a huge thank you to my Patreon community. Your support helps me keep making these videos and it really keeps me doing, keep going. If you want to join, you can get behind the scene stuff, sketches, process, breakdowns, and early access. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram where I post my art, some sneak peeks, and other fun stuff. So thank you again, and I will see you in the next video for the day 4 of this challenge. Bye!